Turbulence at Adventureland in East Farmingdale, New York is the best roller coaster in all of Long Island. This Mack ride spinning coaster has a super compact layout and very modest stats, but it packs a much bigger punch than you may suspect. So in this video, I will be reviewing Turbulence. Adventureland is an extremely small amusement park. The park is wedged on a narrow plot of land between a Target and a business park. As a result, the park often has to remove something in order to add something, and that has always been the case with the plot of land housing Turbulence. This is where the park's largest roller coasters have always been positioned. Adventureland's first roller coaster was the SDC Galaxy added in 1973. This coaster operated until 1990. The following season, it was replaced by another roller coaster from the same Italian manufacturer in SDC. This one was Hurricane. It was a clear improvement over Galaxy. It was taller and faster paced, but it was starting to show its age after 2 decades of operation. So after the 2014 season, Hurricane was retired, but what would replace it? Adventureland wanted something that was accessible to families, but also appealing to thrill seekers. They wanted something unique to the region, and they set their sights on Long Island's first spinning coaster. Since the nearby Luna Park already has Zamperla's spinner and the Tickler, Adventureland wanted something custom built that would provide a unique ride experience. Most spinners at this time were being built by Zamperla, Gerstlauer, Maurer, or Mack. After park officials rode Sierra Sidewinder at Knott's Berry Farm, they realized the Mack spinner was exactly what they wanted. And then in May of 2015, Turbulence opened at Adventureland, and it has been the park's signature attraction ever since. This was only the second Mack spinner built in the United States after the aforementioned Sierra Sidewinder. Since then, only 2 more have been built, and it really is a shame there aren't more in the United States. These are my favorite spinning coasters out there. Mack provides an extremely smooth product with good layouts and strong spinning. This isn't even taking into consideration their extreme spinning coaster model. Plus, their family spinners are priced comparably to the Gerstlauer and Maurer products. Turbulence cost Adventureland $5 million, and I would say it was money well spent. The coaster stands 55 feet or 17 meters tall and has 1,253 feet or 382 meters of twisted track. So in terms of size, it has a similar visual impact to the old Hurricane. However, Turbulence is much more eye-catching thanks to its electric green track and bright yellow supports. This coaster's appearance really pops. Turbulence's queue line wraps its way around the perimeter of the coaster, offering some great views of the coaster. You also pass some ride signs that pay tribute to the park's former attractions that once resided in Turbulence's spot. Adventureland is a park that is very proud of its history. I've always visited Adventureland on a weekend, and I've never had to wait long for Turbulence. Typically, it's no more than a 10 to 15 minute wait. The park owns 2 trains for this coaster, and they will run both if crowds warrant it, and that's much appreciated considering each train only seats 12 riders. Because of how short the trains are, it doesn't make a major difference where you sit. What does matter is how the trains are loaded. If you can get an off-balance car in Turbulence, this ride can become one of the most disorienting coasters on the planet. Off-balance cars are the key to maximizing the thrills on any spinning coaster, but the ferocity of the spinning on Turbulence is matched by very few spinners. The Mack spinners have riders sitting back to back. You have a seatbelt and lap bar combo, which is quite comfortable. I will say the trains could be a bit cramped for larger guests though, because of how the seat molds are. I do have to scoot forward a bit in order to ride, and I'm only 5'9", but the seats do accommodate guests as short as 44 inches, which is great. Once dispatched, you round a turn and head up the lift hill. As I mentioned earlier, Adventureland is a family park, which is why I find the music choice in this ride's lift hill quite funny. Turbulence's name was chosen by a guest in a contest before the ride opened, and the park really doesn't have any theming around the attraction. But they did choose to blast Steve Aoki's and laid-back Luke's Turbulence on the lift hill. It is so out of place that it always gets a chuckle out of me. Once you crest the lift, we hit Turbulence! Turbulence begins with a slow turn to the left that starts the spinning, and that's followed by the ride's largest drop, a twisting plunge to the left. The drop itself doesn't have any force or airtime. but without fail, you will get at least one rotation on this drop. That is what the pre-drop did. If you have a balanced car, the remainder of the first half consists of slow rotations. If you have an off-balanced car, you will spin like a top for the entire first third of the ride. The initial plunge is followed by a horseshoe turn. If you're in the front car, you get a tiny bit of lateral hang time when you stall atop this element. The back doesn't quite get the same sensations. That is followed by a speed hill that gives some weak floater airtime if you're in the front row. And that airtime is extra sweet if you're still spinning, but the spinning does slow down at this point. You then zoom around a turnaround that pulls some good G's. If you're off balance, you will continue to rotate through this element, but not quite at the same rate you did at the start. You then fly over another speed hill. This one instead gives weak floater airtime for those in the back of the train. Turbulence then zips around another turnaround, and then the spinning resumes in full force. Regardless of how your vehicle is loaded, you are going to spin like a top in the second half. You then roar through a tight downwards helix, and this is easily the best part of the ride. This helix is doubly dizzying between the constant spinning of the cars and the compactness of the helix. But this element also pulls some serious G's. This element is quite surprising for a family ride, but I absolutely love it. Turbulence then navigates one last low to the ground turn and hops its way into the brake run, maintaining the spin until you come to a stop. If you had an off-balanced car, this is your first chance to catch your breath. As I hinted at earlier, Turbulence is an extremely smooth coaster, and that is the case for all the Mack spinners. And if you have an off-balanced car, you don't really have any dead spots in this attraction. If you have a balanced car, Turbulence is considerably tamer in the first half, but that second half is just as disorienting and wild. So what would I rate Turbulence? I would give this Mack spinner a 7.5 out of 10. I think an off-balanced ride warrants an 8, and a balanced ride is probably closer to a 7, so I'm going to split the difference. This coaster has a delightfully twisted layout that will completely throw off all sense of direction. It's one of the best paced spinning coasters in the world, which is why it's one of my favorites of the genre. Plus, this coaster is a great ride for families and a perfect fit for Adventureland. It's an attraction that isn't scary enough to deter younger guests, but the spinning offers enough thrills to satisfy older guests. I know not a lot of coaster enthusiasts make it out to Adventureland, and Long Island's traffic is headache-inducing, but Turbulence alone is worth the drive if you're a fan of spinning coasters. So those are my thoughts on Turbulence, the Mack ride spinning coaster at Adventureland in Long Island. Are you a fan of this spinning coaster? How do you think it compares to the other spinners out there? I would love to hear your thoughts about Turbulence down in the comments. If you enjoyed this review, I'd appreciate if you gave this video a like, and you considered subscribing, because there'll be a lot more roller coaster and amusement park videos here at Canopy Coaster. Thanks for watching.